Good afternoon, and Anna, thank you for making the trip up from sunny Melbourne to join us in not-so-sunny Sydney.
Oh, thank you. The weather is perfect for me, so glad to be here.
I did blame Anna earlier for bringing the Melbourne weather, but she was in Perth.
It's also raining.
Right. So obviously I've had the good fortune of knowing you for many years and are working with you through multiple organisations, but do you want to just give the audience a little bit of insight into yourself and your current role at Mitre 10?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I've been around in the digital and e-com and digital technology and transformation space since 1999, so the early years of digital, and really seen the world transform from where e-com and digital teams were seen as cannibals and cannibalizing sales to really strong centers of enablement, data, information, insights. And my current role at Mitre 10, I head up the digital and technology team. And we really trusted with developing a tech stack and technology landscape that supports a very, very unique business. I sit here today and I chat to many of you and I say, I don't think that anyone in Australia has the model that we have. Because Mitre 10, I'm not sure if you guys are aware, but we are a network of 500 stores that are mostly owned and operated independently, which means that they're actually owned by families. They run them completely independently. As you can see from the pictures, they all have names on the front of their stores. So it is Kelly's, Ponting's, Mitre 10. So truly Mitre 10 as a brand as a service. And therefore, in our technology team, we always think about technology as a service to our members. There are so many different challenges that we face. Imagine running a business, a national business, where every single one of your retail outlets has a different price, different range, mostly different point of sale, don't share any data, sometimes don't want to participate in your loyalty program. And so there's a lot of that decentralization that presents a challenge, but also a huge opportunity for digital to step in and be that glue that brings the stores together into one big national brand.
And I'm sure for many of you, particularly myself who grew up in a regional town, that you've got, there's a lot of brand equity, but a lot of, I guess, emotions when you step into a Mitre 10 store as a shopper or a DIYer or a tradesperson.
Absolutely. I mean, most of our stores are owned by intergenerational, like multi-generational families. So
I did see Dulson's on there. That was my local Mitre 10.
Yeah, they've been around for almost 100 years, actually, as a hardware store.
It makes me feel old, Anna.
Well, I'm not saying that you're 100, but they have been around for a while, right? So, we see ourselves as a way to give those independent store owners a strong national platform, technology, brand, advertising, insights, so that we can compete as a second viable alternative for Australian shoppers. I mean, we do have one natural competitor in the market, one big
I don't think
box.
we need to say the name.
We don't. And we are mainly based in regional Australia and rural Australia, so towns where we are a destination for a weekly shop. Whether you're buying pet food, hay for your animals, or just something for your home and DIY projects. So.
You were sharing with me earlier around how you're set up sort of not to compete with the actual stores. Can you talk the audience through that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, as I said, we are truly a platform as a service. So every single order that's taken online, whether it's click and collect or delivery, is fulfilled by that individual store. So we don't send anything from our DCs. Our DCs operate to have the stock available to our members, or members we call stores, and every store delivers their orders themselves. It is, when I first started, I just really was amazed at this uniqueness of our business, and it's very endearing when an order arrives. It's not packaged in a standard way.
So you get a knock on the door
You
from
get a
John
knock on
Eller.
the door, and it is the person who owns a hardware store, in most cases, that delivers the order to you with a personal note, a conversation. And it is true for our regional stores, but also for our metro stores as well. And we have about 20% of our network in metro locations, but we are that network of stores for regional and rural Australia.
So with that as a backdrop, Anna, that physical store experience, in order to create a unified experience, no matter where the shopper's shopping, what are some of the strategies that you're using to really make sure that it is a unified experience?
Well, I mean, we have a strategy, a digital strategy, which is, I actually think it's more of like a brand and business strategy, and the two words, my store. Because what we would like what we are aiming to achieve is a customer arriving onto the website, mitre10.com.au, is presented with the information that is relevant to them and their location. Because as I've mentioned, so much of the relationship is between, all of the relationship is between the customer and their store, that the website needs to present completely and accurately what goes on in the store. It might be a fundraising event on a Saturday for a local school. It might be a sale of plants next weekend. And it only happens at that one store. And it is only relevant to that one group of customers that live around that store. So I always talk about the website actually does not exist. It's an empty shell that augments itself to present the right content, range, and pricing that is relevant to the customer. But then on top of it, we do have a couple of platforms and strategies that have that unification view. Obviously, data insights, CDP, and ratings and reviews, something that we collect nationally, consolidate, and present to customers across Australia.
Well, being in the UGC space at Bazaarvoice, I'd like to ask a little bit of a selfish question, and hopefully it'll be helpful. I know that Mitre 10 is about being mighty helpful to the audience, but can you tell us a little bit around your UGC strategy, and in particular around ratings and reviews?
Yeah, absolutely, and I think that's really important that we leave our brand proposition in everything that we do, and we are mighty helpful, Mitre 10. This tagline's been with us for many decades. So how do you take this as a springboard and go, everything that we do has to go through that lens? And ratings and reviews, like we know our customers very forthcoming with reviews. They love to share their, experiences with products, and we have about 35,000 SKUs on our website. And it's quite literally anything from inflatable boats to dog food, to playhouses, liquid nails, Makita drills, you name it, we have it. So that helpfulness need to translate into everything we do. And so recently we actually launched this initiative, I think I've got this on the screen, where we realized that if we look at our team members that work across those 500 stores as ultimate experts, people who know what the right product is for the right job and can help customers in store, why can't we take that same idea and take it into the digital world? As a customer, I walk into a Mitre 10 store and I go, well, I've got a leak in my bathroom. What silicone, what liquid nails, what Sally's No Gap product should I be using? A team member will straight away kick into gear and will tell you all about the right product, because that is our customer value proposition. We help Australians get the job done right the first time. Now, why can't we do the same thing online? So we've launched a program with our team members where they use the product, when they want to talk about the product, they actually use Bazaarvoice platform to publish the content. It's clearly identified as a team member so that we're not running into any kind of issues. And then they have a channel to share their expertise and their knowledge of the product range, and our customers benefit, because what if you can't get to the store and you still want to know what paint to use or what adhesive to use or what lawnmower is right for you? So that has been a successful product for us. It's just launched.
I think with that program in particular, we speak to a lot of retailers who are very keen to do that, but they're obviously concerned about making sure that there's adherence. What if my team member leaves a negative review on a product, or what if they're not badged and authenticated as a staff member, which could get you in trouble, obviously, with the ACCC and the like?
Yeah.
Tell the audience a little bit around how you've managed that side of the program.
Yeah, well, for starters, because we're so decentralized, we inherently have a bit more trust, and then we give more freedom to our stores, right? Because that's how they are. They're independent legal entities. But we do have a brand safety team within e-com team that do review those reviews and making sure that they are relevant. It's actually not about the comment being negative or positive. Actually, feedback is a gift. If it's a terrible product, why should we be selling it to start with?
It's true.
Right? So we are very open and transparent in our approach to reviews, but they need to be helpful. So if a team member submitting a review that is not helpful to the customer, it doesn't do the job of helping customers select the right product, that is probably not going to qualify to be published on a website and wade through. And we see that actually in the helpfulness rating. We have a lot of customers rating team member reviews as helpful, more so than just other customers rating customers' reviews. That makes sense. So.
It does, and I think as we look at even the example you've got up here, like if you look at level of influence of that content, the helpfulness vote is a really strong measure of that, and you're getting a lot of helpfulness votes.
And I mean, imagine the landscape in which those stores operate. They're in regional towns, most of them. You know, customers come into the stores seeking advice. That nugget of experience is effectively translated using the digital tool.
One of the things we've heard other clients say is just when it comes to choosing the product to review, it's like, well, if you've got nothing great to say about it or helpful to say about it in your case, then park it and move on to another one.
It is all about being helpful. That's what sets us apart from the big green box. When you walk in, you may make 2-3 trips because you keep buying the wrong product, and finally you got the right product. Well, that doesn't happen in Mitre 10. Most of the time that you walk out with the right tool or material. Yeah.
And then how are you using the team members in terms of trialing product as well?
Well, we try to get them to embrace the new products, but I think for us, every store is different, and their range is different. So if I'm a store in, we've got a store in, let's say, Mossman, their product selection is very different to a store in Margaret River in Western Australia, and therefore the interest and expertise of the team members varies, store by store, location by location, and so we have great the team members that just know their timber inside out. They know what timber to use in Queensland versus use the timber if you're building something down south in Melbourne. So it really depends on the type of a product and the type of the location this product is sold. So like I said, we very much this platform, the agnostic platform that welcomes all of the content, builds the experiences that helps connect the customer and the store. And then from there, it's such a great privilege to just sit back and watch those connections take place without interfering too much.
Wonderful. So moving gears a little bit, you're collecting all this wonderful user-generated content. Obviously, we're speaking to reviews now. I'd like to touch base around other UGC and photo content as well. But talk me through how you're actually leveraging the insights that you get from this content.
That's a good one because, when the title came on, I said, Kate, it shouldn't be not great converting content, but great performing content. Because over many years, there's been so many articles written about how the content the product that has reviews converts better, and I'm sure you guys have seen this all in your world. But actually does more for us than just kind of focusing on the conversion. I'm going to flick through. I'm going to share a case study of a little known brand or unknown brand called Faulkner. Now, Faulkner
Can we do a little hand raise? Because I hadn't, Mitre 10's been a long-term customer of Bazaarvoice, and I had not heard of Faulkner. Has anyone here heard of Faulkner? Okay.
Oh, you have?
Yay!
Thank you for your customer.
You can come by our booth and get a prize. We haven't got any books like the last session.
So Faulkner is a very simple set of products. It's flat pack cabinets. White, no frills, but they are kind of a choose your own venture type of product. So you've got 2 shelf, 4 shelf, 2 door, 1 door, open cabinets. You can ultimately organize whichever space you have. The smallest laundry space, the garage space, put in your shelf, organize it like a little jigsaw puzzle. Now, about a year and a half ago, our buying team decided they're just going to buy, let's just say, a container. They just had a one-off order of this product to experiment with, and they had no plans of making this into a carry-through line for Mitre 10. And quite literally, within, I would say, a couple of weeks, we're starting to get this. Like, customers would be saying, this is my space. I had a very small laundry, and then this is now what it looks like, and it's perfect study space. It is, as of today, and has been for many months now, a top-reviewed range. We had hundreds of reviews, most of them with photos. We were overwhelmed with positivity from our customers. Now imagine the world if someone like me, working in digital and technology, comes into the office of our GM of merchandising and purchasing and says, Jeff, his name was Jeff, I have this idea, you should continue buying Faulkner as a range. They will walk me straight out because it is not my area of expertise. I should not be dictating to the merchandising team what they should and shouldn't be buying. But when we show them this content and this response and the results of the sell-through rate, people really kind of sat back and noticed us. And this is now a carry-through line at Mitre 10. And we have a massive success story to tell. It is a #1 selling brand online. And if you think about what we sell Makita, DeWalt, Stanley FabMax, Weber Barbecues, any brand that you can think of, we sell. This is a #2 most selling brand.
IKEA's likely paying attention here.
Well, hopefully they do. It is also top reviewed range on our website. Our average rating is over 4, and there's been a 94% lift in FY24 in terms of sales of Faulkner. So all of that started because we kept our ear to the ground and we paid attention to the sentiment in the reviews that we couldn't have possibly gotten because we are so decentralized. We don't get the reports coming back from our stores. We don't really have that centralized view of sales. So, yeah, a brilliant result. It was picked up by a few influencers. So overall, a massive success. And again, a testament to how you can use technology, which, use it for a different purpose and really inform the business direction.
Yeah. Absolutely, and I think we see this time and time again at Bazaarvoice. We have the good fortune of working with so many different brands and retailers, and there's real business decisions being made based on that content, and whether that's through updating how you're speaking to a potential customer, an existing customer through personalization, whether it's through updating your marketing, messaging and turning it more towards how customers are talking about your solutions or examples like this. So
and you know what, again, going back to our customer value proposition, we are being helpful in everything that we do. And a lot of the times the decisions like that made on sell-through rates and sales. Now, that kind of goes halfway because what if a customer walks into your store, buys a product, great, you got a sale, and then they chuck it in a bin 3 days later because it's broken. Do you look at sell-through rates and sales and go, well, great success, let's continue buying this product? Or do you look at sentiment to go, does this product actually work for a customer? Mm-hmm. And that is one of many examples that we've gone that way to listen to the customer and inform our buying strategy and our range strategy.
And you mentioned the Faulkner brand was picked up by influencers. What role do you see influencers playing in the future in your business?
Well, I think influencers, by virtue of the name, carry a bit of, influence in their content. I think it also gives us an opportunity to enrich the content across all our channels. Like I said, we're not really a brand led by beautiful content, photo shoots, or anything like this. So any content that we can get our hands on is always welcomed. So that content is actually available on the website. We have other members, general public, macro and micro influencers, content all aggregated. And then also, we use another platform that decentralizes our content publishing. So, it's just one element of our content strategy.
Yeah, and I love hearing you talk to that. We often talk about the content supply chain and making sure you have an always-on strategy for things like reviews and user-generated content to fuel that source of content is critical, isn't it?
Yeah, because we won't have content from any other avenue. So we are so hungry for content, and that's just one of the examples.
It's good. So you've got all this data, you're leveraging it for business insights. Talk us through what kind of role you see a data insights platform like Content Square playing when it comes to UGC.
Well, I actually have an example of that as well.
Funny.
But just to the prior session on experimentation and the redesign of the website experience, we recently undergone the redesign of the product description page because we're renovating our website one room at a time. And content, we were just so much going on the product description page. How do you prioritize it? How do you organize content? All of those questions. And we onboarded Content Square for ourselves. And we worked with the team to actually understand, looking at the totality of our sessions on product description page, what drives better conversion. And you would not believe, and I'm sorry to break your heart, product reviews were absolutely up there in the top 3. It was specifications PDF download was the number one factor when customers engaged with those specifications that they progressed to purchase. That PDF link was buried right at the very bottom of the page, somewhere in one of the accordions that may or may not open up depending on your browser. And we just took it right up straight to the top of the experience. And we saw an amazing lift in one of the stage gates in that conversion path, which is add to cart. Because obviously, if you think about conversion rate, you've got product views, sessions with add to cart, session with checkout, and then so we measure every step of the way. And Content Square was absolutely instrumental for us to uncover that and then act on it in our redesign, just on scale, because we measured so many thousands of sessions. And that's an example, actually, just from what we look at, and that's the comparing sessions with product reviews in interactions and without. And you can kind of almost see there on the right, there's a much greater engagement, a deeper engagement post-BDP from customers who clicked on the reviews, interacted with the reviews. And we're not even talking about just conversions, because let's face it, only about 2% of our, 2.5% of our sales come through e-com. It's actually aiding customers in making the right decisions before they're walking into a store. So engagement is one of the key metrics that we look at as well, not just conversion. That's why I talk about it's not converting UGC, it's performing UGC. That's the key difference. I would believe that. And going back to the specifications, I, for one, have a pet peeve with going to a specifications page and seeing things that are not, that are in inches versus centimeters. My brain can't. That's exactly. So it's and possibly it's like the nuance of our industry. So for every business, it will be a different thing that drives customer behavior and engagement, and finding what resonates and what triggers the customer to get engaged and hopefully then purchase. I feel like it's 80% of the battle.
Well, final question for me, and then we'll go to the audience questions. Kind of where to next for your UGC strategy? Can you share a little with the audience?
It's completing the feedback loop. It's getting the content that we now, we've got tens of thousands of pieces of content on our site, and actually distilling it back into the world of our retail network and helping customers who are now in store go through and, engage and understand how to use the product and what the product does. And, you saw those pictures of folk nights, really inspiration for the customers that walk in through the stores. Mm-hmm. That's one of our strategies, absolutely. And another thing is starting to enrich comms with user-generated content. I think a lot of the times we tend to talk about product price. How do you bring that inspiration, that voice of the customer into all of the touch points? It's something that we already obsessed about, but we just now need to make a tangible step towards finding a platform that allows us to package up those brilliant nuggets of information and get this out into the world.
That's very, very helpful. I'm sure the audience have found that mighty helpful. Anna, sorry, that pun again. Have we got any questions for the audience? As I said, we don't have any books like the earlier session. Oh, we've got something. I feel like this is like a game. And my phone's frozen. Oh. Okay, I'll have patience.
Well, I'm just whilst you like.
I'm sure. Yeah.
I mean, when I started a couple, like 2.5 years ago at Mitre 10, I actually myself didn't know that this brand still existed. So I just always go, like, how many of you have been to a Mitre 10 store in, let's say, the last 6 to 12 months? Well, there's quite a few. Oh my gosh. Are you all from regional Western Australia? I'm joking. But yeah, thank you. Yeah, so hopefully you see the difference and the warmth and the care and the engagement that goes into every customer interaction as you walk through. We know there's big, but we are mighty helpful.
You are. And I do have a question from the audience, Anna. So what's your advice for a team starting out to use UGC? Where should we start?
I think you start with what does your brand stand for and what problems you're trying to solve. I mean, it goes without saying that having product reviews on a product page is a must-have. I mean, the customers almost expect it. There's a certain lack of trust when you don't have it. But I think it's more powerful to have this conversation within your businesses if you push beyond just the e-com metrics. Because, even if you're 20% of sales, there's still 80% coming from elsewhere. But if you start breaking down the power and how you can help shape the product strategy, how we can improve in-store experience, how we can help your marketing efforts, I think that will complete the puzzle and make the sell and the roadmap much more robust.
Yeah. I would agree, and I think the other thing, just to add to that, is often companies starting out have this fear of negative content, and we've had this conversation time and time again that the conversation is already happening. Get involved in the conversation.
Well, at least know about it. I mean, your product's not going to be better just because you don't know that the customers are talking badly about it. You need to listen to your customers.
That's right.
Bad feedback, a lot of the times, it's actually more valuable than good feedback because you get an opportunity to do something about it.
Couldn't agree more. Well, I think we're just about out of time. I wanted to say a big thank you, Anna.
Thank you.
Really appreciate your time today. And audience, let's give Anna a big round of applause for joining us. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.